and welcome into the Wheelhouse, your Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle. Matt Mascarenas, Michael Spillin with you as usual on these Sunday mornings, and we got a lot to get into this morning as the NBA Finals are set. The NHL Stanley Cup Final is halfway set. We'll also get into some WNBA highlights and reaction in that as well. Maybe if there's time, we'll get into some baseball and also what's up with your boy Mike Tyson. Matt, how are you this morning?
What's up with your boy? I'm good. I'm good, Mike. How are you? Are you feeling good on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Guess there's not really a whole lot going on today. I mean,
allergies and moths are pissing me off, but
the Millers are they're starting to get out there. Yep.
Where the Millers are back.
Hate the Millers.
Yeah. I was like, what's the over-under on Miller moths flush down the toilet a day per household?
Oh, man.
So I think I hit 7 or 8 yesterday.
A lot. And then what's like the over-under when you turn on your air conditioning, like 10 fly out of your vent in your car?
Or you literally turn on a light.
Yeah, and then there's 50.
You know what you do? One of the keys is you leave like a light on, like on a table, and put a bowl of soapy water underneath it. And you'll wake up to about 20, 25 in there.
Yep. Freaking
yeah. Good old Millers. Once again, this and all pods brought to you by Pikes Peak Sports Cards. They just had their super big sports card show down in Colorado Springs, so they are about to have another one here in a couple of weeks. So make sure if you are in the Colorado, Denver Springs area, go check them out down in Colorado Springs. Once again, like our Facebook page, Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle, or Instagram, and follow us there as well at Matt_Mascarenas at Elevation 5280 Radio. I'm at Sports Junkie 25 on the gram, on the X at 5280 Sports Radio, at Matt Mascarenas 1. I'm at Michael Spillin, and also please subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify channels as well. So we are bringing back, Matt. We are bringing back Fire and Ice also today, and we will drop that here in a second. But what was your reaction, and do you have any memories? I know he played way back, but Bill Walton passed away last weekend. We weren't able to talk about it. So much good reaction from just everyone, not only in basketball, but around the sports world. Do you have any favorite things you maybe saw on TV? Dominant player, was hampered kind of by injuries later in his career, 2-time NBA champion.
Yeah, tremendous one of the best college players, if not the best college basketball player ever to play the game. The things that remind me the most is his stories about John Wooden. How I'm sure everybody's heard this over and over again, but how he shows up and he tells him to cut his hair, and he says nope, he's not cutting his hair, and then he says, well, I can't remember the exact quote that John Wooden told him.
Yeah, he just said, well, then you're not going to play here.
Yeah, then you're not going to play here, and the next thing you know, he went down the street, got his hair cut, and then the rest is history. And then when he was, I was always a fan of when he called the NBA games. I didn't like when they took him off of that. So I have fond memories of that. And then recently down here, college basketball, especially with the the former Pac-12, which he called a lot of those Pac-12 games. So a lot of memories. I don't have the striking memories of him watching him play because I wasn't even born, I don't think. But he won a championship, the only championship for the Portland Trailblazers. And then we all know what he went on from there. So yeah, it was when it comes to basketball lore, that's a big one. That's a big one to lose in the world of basketball for sure.
Yeah, and loved him. One of the rare guys I liked on ESPN color guy for ESPN. But and it's funny about that haircut story. And if you Google what his hair looked like in college, and literally when he went to Portland, it's night and day because he had the long hair, big beard. So he's making up for lost time for his in college. So, yeah, big personality to lose, not only in basketball but in the sports world. So, um, yeah, that was kind of a surprise. A lot of people didn't even know he was battling cancer or he was sick. So, and he's kind of been out of the spotlight the last couple of years. So, it kind of makes sense that that was going on.
Yeah, it was because I feel like I listened to him call some games this season. I really do. I want to say that I heard him call a couple CU games, maybe even more than that. But I wish I would have noticed it a little. Like it's tough to say that in hindsight, but like noticed it a little bit more. You know what I mean? I mean, it's tough. It's a tough deal.
Yeah, and if you want to laugh today, go Google. I forgot who the main play-by-play guy was, but go and check out Bill Walton as the color guy, and then also Frank Caliendo was sitting in, and Frank Caliendo does a pretty good Bill Walton impression. So go check out Frank Caliendo doing Bill Walton in front of Bill Walton. So it was pretty funny. So go check that out if you have time today. All right, let's dive into everything today. And Fire and Ice is going to kick us off.
It's now time for Fire.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
He's on fire.
I'm the only one of burning desire. Let me stand next to your fire.
And Ice.
Ice Cube, baby.
You're as cold as ice. Ice, ice, baby.
All right, Matt. It is Fire and Ice time, bringing this back this week as a lot of topics to get into this morning, as we mentioned. Let's kick it off with the fire list, I feel like, Matt. And number 3 on our fire list is the Florida Panthers' second straight year in the Stanley Cup final. And as they knock off the New York Rangers last night in 6 games, they are back in the Stanley Cup final. They lost to Vegas last year in the final, but they are back in it as they await the winner of Dallas and Edmonton. Could quite possibly have 2 Dallas teams in the respective finals in each sport, in hockey and in basketball.
Yeah.
So could be pretty exciting from if you're from Texas. But we went from about a month ago talking about, could we have 2 parades in Colorado? But now Dallas is talking about it, and they are way closer to possibly having 2 teams in the respective finals.
Yeah, I was. This was probably the only series that I really, and I'm not even say I intently watched it, but I watched it a lot more than a lot of the series. I was rooting for the Rangers because there's just something about the Rangers that for me is nostalgic hockey, and I mean the Panthers, like it's like you said, they're consecutive. They've done this over and over, and I was pulling for the Rangers, just get that nostalgia feeling, that hockey feeling. Chris Drury's over there now too, right? He's the GM there, isn't he still?
Somewhere over there.
He's somewhere over there. So I was rooting. I had some kind of rooting interest for the Rangers, but yeah, congrats to the Panthers. And then on that other side of the coin, I mean, isn't that the whole thing? We root for Dallas because we don't want Edmonton because of what's his face.
Connor McDavid,
McDavid over there. We root against that guy. So yeah, I mean, rooting for the team that beat your team, I guess, in a sense, is when it comes to the Avalanche. So on that side of things, yeah, let's hope that they can do that. They can finish off Edmonton, and then I think either way, it's going to be a good, exciting final, and I will watch it.
So I want to bring up too, it's not called like the NHL final. I know a couple years ago the NHL stopped putting the S at the end of finals because it is the final. It's the finale,
right,
if you will. But it's cool how it's called the Stanley Cup final. Is it time for the NBA to change their name? Instead of the NBA finals, should it be called, I know it'd be weird to have the Larry final. Just call it the Larry.
Just call it the Larry, man.
The
hey,
O'Brien
it's time
final.
for the Larry. Yeah, just call it the Bryant final. The Larry O'Brien. Just yeah. Let's just call it that. Yeah, I mean, like
LOB finals.
Because if you think about it, like they have the Western Conference final, or is it the finals? Was it? Do they call it the Western Conference Finals?
In the NBA, it's all
it's the
finals.
S.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got the S on it, and I would like it to take the S off for sure, and yeah, to be the final. That makes sense. I do like the Stanley Cup final, and I would like the Larry O'Brien final. I would like that. I would like that.
Yeah. So maybe
But the NBA Finals is iconic. It's an iconic,
it is, and it's always been called the Stanley Cup Final.
right?
They
So-
took away the S a few years back.
So I would be okay with the change, but it is an iconic. I can even see the picture in my head right now from 1992 or 93 or whatever you want to. I can picture it in my head, so it is iconic. But I wouldn't be upset if there was some kind of a name change.
And maybe I mean I doubt it, but could be coming.
They
But
need
I
to
doubt
change the in-season tournament. They need to work on that. That's what they need to change the
they need
name
to
on.
delete it. You
They
see
need
this
to
delete
delete
button
it.
right here?
Just push
Delete
it.
it. That's
It
all
was-
you gotta
it was-
do, Adam Silver.
We gave the Lakers their championship for this season, so that's good enough. Let's be done with it. Nobody's talking about that now, are they? Did anybody say when Boston was playing Indiana, this Indiana team was in the finals or against the Lakers or what in the in-season? Did anybody say that? Anybody bring that up? I don't remember hearing it once.
Some of these dumb I don't know how they get on my social media feeds, but some of these dumb like Laker pages all of a sudden show up.
I see them a lot too. I see
and
them a
I'm
lot
like,
too.
I'm like, I guess they show up because I comment on them negatively.
Mhm.
So I guess that's the reason why they show up. But I'm just like, it was fake. It is a fabricated championship, so doesn't count towards anything. Although I'm still ticked off that their IST banner is bigger than the Nuggets championship banner.
Yeah.
See that
Yeah.
championship banner behind me? That's about the size the Nuggets have hanging at Ball Arena. And the Elevation 5280 Sports banner behind me is about the size of – that's a good comparison right there behind me of the
Mhm.
Lakers in-season tournament banner compared to the Nuggets actual championship banner from last year. That's about the scale of it. So there you go. All right, Matt. Number 2 on our fire list. We come back to the W. Welcome to the W.
The dub.
Caitlin Clark, only one of 2 players, Matt, to set this record. I think it was 100 points, 50 assists, and 50 rebounds. Only the second player quickest to do that in her first 10 games in the W. The other being the outstanding Sabrina out there in New York. She had a weird her first year was the bubble, Matt, which is kind of weird. That's weird for everybody. For Sabrina Ionescu out in New York, she only played 2 games in 2020, Matt, in the bubble, and then she got hurt. So then she kind of continued that streak the next season. But Caitlin Clark has become only the second player in the first 10 games to attain that record. So I guess the records or the streaks or whatever are kind of continuing. I know she leads the WNBA in turnovers, which, is going to happen for not only somebody who handles the ball, 85% of the time, and you're a rookie on top of it. So that's an unfortunate stat to be leading all rookies in, but it's going to happen when you're the starting point guard and you handle the ball a lot and you're a rookie. So, and not only that, Matt, the attendance that the W is setting this season, the Indiana Fever, they've only played 3-4 home games, and they've already broken their attendance from last season. Yeah. And not only that, they're filling up everybody else's arenas too.
I was just going to say that. Did you watch? I know you watched the Sparks games. They were packed there. There was Clark people there. There was Brink people there.
That was the first game that the Sparks played at Crypto.com.
Right.
This season.
It was packed. It was packed. You've seen, and in my opinion, it's the games that Caitlin plays in, her team goes and plays against, but it's also just in general the And I don't know if it's just because I've been watching a lot more WNBA this year. I bought the app. I bought
Yeah,
the pass.
me
I'm
too.
sure I know you did. So we're watching a lot. My wife and I watch a lot of women's basketball WNBA, and it seems like the stadiums are full in a lot of places. And again, I've watched it in the past, but I really never noticed how packed and how wild some of these crowds are getting. So it is on fire, and there's yeah, Caitlin Clark's at the top of it, but there's so many other players. Brink is getting a lot of pub right now. Angel Reese is getting a lot of pub. Cordosa, I've seen
She
her.
had a great first game yesterday.
Yeah, she had a great first game, and Angel Reese is playing well for a rookie big in the WNBA. She's playing well, and I mean, let's go back to what Caitlin said. The historic one, the first 100 points and all that stuff. Yeah, she's leading in turnovers, but she's fourth in assists. Also, she's averaging almost 7 assists a game, and she's 16th in scoring, and that she's averaging 16 points. And I was looking at something. I think Brianna Stewart was she came in averaging 17 points as a rookie. So Caitlin's like right there with her, Travasi and Swoops and a couple other those girls. Kelsey Plum, I think, averaged a lot when she came in too. But there's so many. There's a lot of things to watch and enjoy with the WNBA outside of what Caitlin Clark is doing. There's so many things in the basketball. Asia Wilson, man, my goodness, that girl's good.
She's a beast. Yeah.
And Brianna Stewart is still doing the thing. Like there's and Kelsey Plum. I love watching her play basketball.
She's so quick.
She's so quick, and then she's just got that little fiery attitude to her, and it's just there's a lot of things going well for WNBA right now, and I've watched it outside of when our Nuggets got ousted. I've watched a hell of a lot more basketball WNBA side than I did. I watched the playoff games. Don't get me wrong, but I found myself flipping back and forth and going back to the WNBA a lot more than staying with the conference finals this year. But I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, not only the Caitlin Clark stuff you mentioned, Cameron Brink, she leads the W in block shots,
Right.
almost 3.5 a game. You mentioned Angel Reese, she leads the entire league in offensive rebounds as a rookie. So it'll be interesting to see where Cardoso gets up in the rankings, because she had limited minutes yesterday. In the first half, she only played 6 minutes, had 6 points and 5 rebounds in 6 minutes. And I think she finished with close to a double-double. If not, she did have a double-double. I think she finished with 11 points and like 8 rebounds or something like that in her first game, coming off the bench, by the way. And the coach, Weatherspoon, trusted her in closing the game as a rookie. So you had 2 rookies for the Chicago Sky closing out a game against the Fever in Indiana. So that was pretty cool to see Cardoso back in action.
Oh man, it's freaking tremendous. I love watching, and we're gonna be sitting here looking like to figure out what they're going to do. That Chicago team with those 2 bigs and those 2 the Twin Towers. Like I mean, I don't know. We got to figure out what they're gonna call them, because they could be there for a long time. And if Cardoso's already doing what she's doing, and Angel Reese can do what she does, my goodness, that we got to look out for that Chicago team. But I like, outside of Caitlin and watching the Fever, I love watching Phoenix. I love watching the Aces. And the Sparks are fun to watch. I mean, that
Liberty,
team,
the Liberty's fun.
the Liberty's fun to watch. And then I think that's who I'm thinking of. Yeah. Oh no, the Connecticut team.
Oh yeah, I think they're the number 1 team right now.
Yeah, that Connecticut team is stacked. They got Bonner on that team. I think Carrington's on that team. That's a stacked team too. And Barry, I'm learning all these names. I'm gonna know all these names at the end. But my goodness, they're the teams and the basketball that we're watching. Yeah, there's not a lot of dunks and all this, but man, some of these girls, some of these women, they can really ball. They can really, really ball.
Yeah, and it's super fun to watch. But bring a team to Denver, please.
We need one. We need a team.
I don't know how the Bay Area and Toronto got picked over Denver, but
And Seattle even got a team. I mean, I know Seattle doesn't have a basketball team, so but I guess,
hey, but at least they're wearing the old
Yeah.
old Sonic colors.
see, and this is what I was thinking. If we get a team, and I don't know how this would go over, but we should get they should be the Pixies. Wouldn't that be cool? The Pixies, because it kind of plays on the pickaxe of the Denver Nuggets.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool, but I don't know. Like,
I heard one that kind of made sense too, although it was a little bit long. Was the Mountain Lions, just because Rocky's a mountain lion.
Rocky. Yeah, the Lions, the Mountain Lions, the Pumas,
Pumas,
the
is
Mountain
good.
Cats.
I like Pumas.
Pumas is good too.
Yeah,
it'd be
All right.
fun. It'd be fun.
yeah. I mean, hey, season ticket package for the Bay Area team is only $35 deposit. So if and not only that, Matt, the WNBA package that we were both referencing was only $35 for the year, by the way.
For the year, for the
year,
entire
mind you.
year.
Yeah. Crazy. All right, Matt, number one on our fire list is the the NBA Finals is now set. We have the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. Boston obviously was the best team in the Eastern Conference all season long. Kind of crazy that the Nuggets were the first team to hand Boston their first home loss of the season. So that was kind of crazy. But Dallas goes into Boston. Obviously, Boston will have home court advantage in this series. Dallas don't give any Fs about that, as they played tremendous on the road, especially in Minnesota, hostile environment. Although it seemed like Minnesota and Dallas were both better teams on the road all postseason long.
Mhm.
The Minnesota lost 5 of their last 7 games at home in the playoffs, especially that closeout game, which was, I did not see Dallas coming out and, getting up to a 30-point lead and holding it, by the way, holding that big lead. I think that was a final score. I think they won by 23 points. So they were able to weather any kind of storm that Minnesota brought. It was just crazy to see. So I'm going to say Dallas in 6, Matt, against Boston. Boston lives and dies by the three-pointer. And even if they do drive it in, Matt, you got Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford waiting inside, which, if you notice Minnesota versus Denver, Minnesota was not scared to drive in the lane at all. And they were a lot more hesitant to drive in the lane against Dallas. So if the Nuggets were watching, take notes. That's how you protect the rim.
Yeah. There was just, and it also looked like it to me anyway, that Minnesota's championship game or their finals was beating the Nuggets. Like they're everything that they had, and I know people are gonna you heard, or you're gonna say, well, they were in the game. The Wolves were in a lot of those Maverick games. They were there. They were close games coming down to it. Luka had to make a 3 to when was it game 1 or game 2 or game 3, or I'm sorry, game 3 or game 4 in Minnesota. That big time Luka 3. So yeah, they were there, but the biggest thing with this, with what Dallas has right now, and it's what the Nuggets had last year, is they had the 2 best players in the playoffs on the team. And everybody was saying it was Anthony Edwards. And I love Anthony Edwards, and I think he's going to be a freaking superstar in this league. But he's not Michael Jordan. He's not Kobe Bryant. He's not any of those dudes. And it was really funny to me, Mike. I'm going to go on a tangent real quick. How everybody was I don't know how to put this without sounding vulgar and disgusting, but they were all over this guy about his post-game talking.
Well, now he's Luka's son, isn't he?
He's Luka's. I don't know if you've seen that meme with Gobert and it was Coach. I forget his name. Anyway, yeah, and it was all the talk. Like it all worked out for him when he was talking about coming back here in Denver. I'm going to bring Micah back some shoes. Like that stuff is cool, but that's just him. He's got an attitude. He's got that. We love that. But it doesn't work when you lose and you look stupid. Like there was more of that from And he was just so, what do you want me to say? Like, we're going to come back. We got to win this. I mean, we got to win. We got one game at a time. There was just no serious. And I went back and I watched, as I watched this a lot. I watched the Last Dance so often. And I'm watching Michael Jordan at the end of those press conferences when they lose games. And he's pissed off. He doesn't have this nonchalant attitude like, whoa, we got to come back. And there's the same thing goes for Jamal Murray too. This nonchalant attitude. It was like, we're not done. We got to come back and do that. There was just more seriousness, and you can see that there's not the player that the Anthony Edwards is not that player right now. He doesn't have that attitude. He still has the mindset. I don't want to call it a millennial generation Z or whatever the hell they're calling him nowadays. I don't know what generation you put him in, but there's a lot of maturity that needs to happen. That team is maybe built to beat the Nuggets, which they did, even though I feel like there's more issues with the Nuggets losing that game than it had anything to do with what Minnesota mainly did. But that team has a lot of maturity issues on it, and it is not as close as a lot of people think it is to contending for an NBA championship. And it shows you right now. Karl Anthony Towns is the weakest Robin in the entire NBA. That dude is soft as baby poop. I mean, I can't stand that guy. But when it comes to the NBA Finals, and like you were saying, I'm gonna get off of the tangent and get off of Minnesota. The Dallas Mavericks, it's theirs to lose, right? Everybody was saying that the money is on Boston because of their path to the finals, their path to get there. They haven't been challenged at all in these playoffs. And then they're just sitting there ready to rock, ready to go. But like you said, if Dallas defends the 3-point line, there's no height, there's no size unless Kristaps comes back. I don't even know where he's at on the injury report.
They said he should be ready to go.
If he's ready, even then, if he's ready to go, how good is he going to be going into the finals and haven't not played the entire playoffs and having not get any? How good is he going to be against a team that's coming in here with the best player in the NBA right now, the second best player in the NBA right now, and Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, and with a team that is vibing, everybody's scoring. You got PJ Washington making buckets, like you mentioned. Gafford, Lively's going to be back, and he's going to get some time off, so he's going to be better. Boston has to, like you said, Mike, they have to live and die by the 3-point line. They play that 5-out, spread it out basketball, and they shoot threes. If they start making threes and start, Dallas is going to be tough for Dallas to come out and to defend the three. They're never been good defensively until they added those two bigs, but that bulked them up in the middle in the shot blocking. They're going to look to get shots off on the outside. So if Boston makes shots, it could be a difficult series for Dallas. But I think, like you, I'm like you, gentleman's sweep, 6 games. What do we call the 6 games? Is it a gentleman's sweep, or do we call it like a fancy?
Gentleman's sweep is
fancy sweep.
5 games.
So gentleman's sweep. I'm going to say it's going to be a gentleman's sweep or a fancy 6 games. Let's go with that. That's what I'm going. But if Boston is making these shots, they could make it a different series. They can make it a difficult series. That's the only thing that I don't think Dallas can match up with. They can't go out and protect the 3-point line. I don't know. I haven't seen it in the past. And like we were talking about, Mike, I feel like Joker or the NBA built them. A lot of teams built themselves around defending and beating Nikola Jokic. And I think that's what Dallas did with adding those 2 bigs. And then even what Boston did with Porzingis. So it's going to be a different series, but I think Dallas is going to win because I have no faith in Boston. Absolutely none. And did you see the news that's coming out? Joe Mazzulla, he's coming out. This guy's just a terrible coach.
What is he doing? What's crazy Joe doing?
He's a terrible freaking coach, man. If Ime Udoka was still over there, Boston might have won 2 championships already, at least one. But this dude's terrible. He's coming out and saying that there's no discourse in the locker room. There's no issues going on. Well, if you have to come out and say that, in my opinion, there's something going on there. If Joe doesn't win this, he's fired. He's gone. There's no shot that this dude is the coach next year if they don't win the champ. Even if they do win the championship, the dude might be gone. He's terrible. He is a terrible coach, and he's terrible for Boston.
Couple things we talked about. Remember when everyone last year said the Nuggets had the easiest path to the finals, which was absolutely number one. I'll say this: number one, when you're the number 1 seed, Matt, you're playing the lowest seeds, right? You're
Mhm.
you're playing play-in tournament teams who barely make it. You're playing all these stupid teams. They got past Minnesota last year. I get it. They weren't 100% healthy last year. You know, you didn't have Jaden McDaniels, who absolutely shut down whoever he guarded on the Nuggets. Just that alone. Remember, he got all pissed off and broke his
Yep.
hand, so he didn't even play in that first round. And then you play the Phoenix Suns, who were honestly, without Bradley Beal, a lot scarier last year
They
than
were.
this year.
Mhm.
And that was the one series I was concerned about. Nuggets got past them in 6. And then, of course, the Lakers, who I think people are still saying Lakers in 12 from last
Yep.
year. And they swept them. And then you run into, I guess you could say the Heat. The Heat took out this Boston team last year, Matt.
It was a 7-game. That's the thing. I'm sorry to cut you off, Mike, but that was the thing. The Heat beat them in a 7-game series. It wasn't like the Celtics were missing players, that Jaylen Brown or these guys were hurt. No, they went 7 games, and that's because I had that and that's another example of why Boston is just not. I don't have any faith in Boston, because you go back to that Miami series last year. They took 7 games for Boston had them so many times, and they never took them out.
And
So
they
yeah,
won.
that I
And I
agree.
think Boston lost 3 games at home. That is
They're at-
including the closeout game.
Yes, and that's another thing. How can you have any confidence in a team that is as bad as Boston is at home in the playoffs? They're terrible at home in the playoffs. Awful. And
So-
you go to the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals, just the ones we just had. Indiana should have won game 1. They should have won. They should have been at least up 2-1 going back to Indiana. And there's all, and then Halliburton gets hurt, and they even in that last game, they were still struggling closing out this team. That there's just Boston is just this is the epitome of the easiest path to the finals in the history of the NBA. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can research it and find something better.
That's what I'm going through. So we just talked about everyone saying the Nuggets were the easiest path last year. I think Boston not only blew that out of the water,
Mhm.
but this has to be. So you look at what Boston did. They beat the Heat in 5 games. No Jimmy Butler. I mean, that's
That's
a big
huge.
one. They move on to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think Donovan Mitchell and who's Karis LeVert. I think
Karis
they
LeVert,
both
yep.
missed. I think Karis LeVert missed that entire series. Donovan Mitchell was out 2 or 3 games that series.
Yeah, and there was the other guy. The other kid was hurt too. The McCall. No, what was his name? Anyway, yeah, there was
Either way,
they had a lot of injuries.
They played a banged up Cleveland team, and not only that, Pacers probably shouldn't have been there either. You look at the path that they had. They played a Giannis-less Milwaukee Bucks. Dame missed 2 or 3 games in that series, so Pacers got lucky. And then they run into the New York Knicks in the second round. Jalen Brunson broke his hand in the elimination game, so who knows what that would have turned into.
Yep.
And then you have the Pacers and the Celtics meet in the Eastern Conference Finals. Again, Halliburton missed 3 of the 4 games.
Yeah.
And if you're Halliburton with a little hamstring injury, I don't know if you play through that, especially in an elimination game. I don't know. But again, not only was Boston, I don't want to say lucky enough to get there, but they were so good against it. I think I think they only lost 12 games to the Eastern Conference this year.
The Eastern Conference is that just shows you how terrible the Eastern Conference is. And you just when you just said that the Milwaukee and look at all these teams that all got all these superstars and these guys that are hurt and injured for the playoffs. The playoffs. Like we're playoffs. They're Giannis didn't play. Dame set out 2-3 games, like you mentioned. Mitchell was hurt, set out 2-3 games. Halliburton just got hurt and set out. And it just makes me wonder, like, how it not only are they weak, where they as far as they don't have the players or the teams aren't built good enough to battle with the West Conference, but they're weak, like injury. Say everything you want, say what you want about Jamal Murray. That dude was hurt. And I'm not giving him any excuses. If you're hurt that bad, you stay off the court because you're hurting your team. But that guy was hurt, and he drug himself out there every night.
I think.
And you're
Really
telling me
quick,
these guys
just to
can't
touch
do
on
that?
I think Jokic was hurt too.
We don't know. He could have been. He did not look right.
He's not going to say anything.
He did. He's not going to say nothing. That's the thing with what we have in the Western Conference. LeBron last year, forever for say, we all love Voldemort. We all love to hate him, but he was hurt in those finals last year, and he goes out in the game 4 and throws 40 out there, gives it all the shot, and they still get swept. But still, that just shows you. And I can name some other guys that are out there banged up. Luka had some issues during that Clipper series. He got hurt. I mean, there's guys that are playing through and getting through injuries because they have to. It's that time of season. It's that time of year.
Yeah,
And you look at the Eastern Conference.
100%. Nobody's at this time.
You look at the Eastern Conference. Oh, Dame. Oh, I don't know. I'm hurt. Dame couldn't go out and will his team through those games to get through. And maybe we get Giannis in the next series. And that's why, when you point at these players that they go to teams and make these super teams, these guys are weak, man. These guys are weak. That's how come they have to go to other teams to add to that whatever they have going on there, because they can't make it themselves here at the team that they're at. So I mean, say whatever you want about these guys that play through injury and then they still suck. Like Jamal Murray got a lot of slack this year, a lot of flack, and I agree, he deserved it. If you're going to be out there, you're out there. But still, man, you got to give him something for playing through all that stuff that he was playing through. You got to give him something for it.
And, he made 2 game-winning shots in the first round. I don't know if the hurtness was affecting him in the first round, but you could definitely see in that Minnesota series. And not only that, Minnesota was just relentless on defense. So I don't know if you consider that into the calculations as well, but
yeah,
we will see. I'm going Dallas in 6. Wouldn't be surprised if it was Dallas in 5.
I could see a sweep. But I'm going to give Boston 1 game. They're going to come out and shoot the lights out on 3 and give them 1 game.
And it'll probably be in Minnesota, to be honest with you. But
yeah, they'll play it in Minnesota.
You talked about Minnesota was built, absolutely 100% built to beat Denver. And then they run into a team like Dallas who, Dallas can beat you all sorts of ways, man. Not only can Luka shoot the 3, he's not scared to drive it. Same with Kyrie. He can drive it, make plays inside. And they didn't seem scared of Minnesota's 7-footers, but Minnesota seemed a lot more hesitant to drive in on Dallas's 7-footers. But I agree with, not only they were built to beat Denver, obviously, because it's same GM who built both teams pretty much.
Exactly.
And Charles Barkley said it the best, and that was, it just seemed like Minnesota was content on not being swept.
Yeah.
They were happy with that 1 game, and that was it.
And they had the Nuggets had the same chance, the same opportunity to do that. But that 9-2 run, they were dominating them, and then Minnesota calls a timeout in game 6, and then that was it. From then on, and then they had a 20-point. Minnesota gave the Nuggets so many, and I hate to keep going back to the Nuggets in the Minnesota series, but it bugs the hell out of me. Dallas got the same shots that Denver got, except the only difference is that Dallas made their shots. Denver missed a lot of shots. Blame who you want to blame. Blame Michael Porter Jr. Blame Casey. Blame Reggie Jackson. Blame whoever you want to blame. They missed a lot of shots. Everybody missed shots, and Dallas made those shots. Dallas was getting the same shots we were getting, except the difference was that they make them. So when the ball's not falling, it kills your confidence. It does.
Yeah, and not only that, MPJ is once they see 1 goes in, he's got the confidence to keep going.
It gets going, right?
He sees 1 miss, and that's it. It's over.
And MPJ didn't do the thing with MPJ in that series is he didn't do the other things that he usually does. He didn't go grab rebounds, make block shots.
He was lights out in the Lakers series.
He was tremendous in that Lakers series, which was crazy. There's nothing really to take. I don't know. There's a lot of things that didn't bounce. You could just tell, especially that 20-point lead in the game 7. My God.
Well, you got 2 guys on Dallas with just killer instincts, no matter
killers,
what
man.
Kyrie and Luka they don't care. They don't care what the situation is. They are going to, like you mentioned, will their team to a victory. When you have 2 just killers like that, I don't know who that is on Denver. It could be Jamal. When he's pissed off. Remember last year?
Last year.
Yeah, we'd love to piss off Jamal Murray. That's when
It was last year.
Yeah, that's when he shined the brightest. But I don't know. This kind of comment just kind of goes along with that. Nuggets need to trade MPJ. That's all we're going to hear this whole offseason. Look, they're strapped for cash once again. They have really no money to work with unless somebody takes on those contracts. Unless you have to trade MPJ, you got to get some kind of numbers to equal that contract. Unless a team takes on that 100% of that contract, Matt, you're not getting rid of MPJ.
Right. You're not. And I mean, it's going to have to be a 3-way deal. It's going to have to, there's a lot that has to go through. I think that they're going to try. I think that there's some things that the Nuggets and Booth are going to try to do. Well, the first thing they got to do is they got to get on the same page. Are we going to be a dynasty that wins championships every other year? 3 out of 6. I don't know however you want to look at Booth. Or are you going to be like Michael Malone's mindset and let's win now and win as many as we can in a row? That's how they need to get on the same page, because this year it was more what Booth wanted instead of what, maybe Michael Malone wanted. So there needs to be a page, because if you're going to have that mindset, they have to have these guys prepared, and those guys weren't prepared. Not saying that Michael Malone didn't get them prepared. I'm talking about Peyton Watson, Strother, Pickett, whoever you're going to throw into that little mix that we should have got minutes for those guys. Michael Malone didn't trust them in the regular season. Why the hell is he going to trust them in the playoffs? So that's just, they got to get on the same freaking page.
I think that before Strother's injury, because remember that one game Strother poured in like 23 and he made like 6 3-pointers or something crazy like that. I think if he didn't get hurt, I think we would have saw minutes from Strother, because that dude can shoot. Pickett, I think he's still a little bit of ways off. I don't think you would have saw Gillespie in the playoffs anyway, not with a veteran like Reggie. But
Hunter.
But at some point, when Reggie scores 0 points in 3 of the 7 games, you got to try something new. You just got to shake it up a little bit.
There's going to be, I don't think Reggie Jackson's going to be here. There's going to be a different 6th man coming off, and that I think
there definitely has to be.
That's what I think.
This bench is going to look totally different.
It's going to be a vet bench. It's going to be a vet bench, and it's going to look a lot different. And then we're going to see what they do with KCP.
Well, it's up to him, because he got a player option.
Mm-hmm. We got to see what happens there. I think he stays. I don't think there's any reason that he goes unless they convince him to leave. I don't know.
No, unless he could opt out and make a lot more money
and get another. Yeah.
The teams like that. Not only does he have 2 championships under his belt, he's a savvy vet. I think he was more hurt than he let on as well.
There was,
So I don't know, but
and a
team's going to throw a lot of money towards KCP for not only being a veteran but having that experience.
If he does opt out, if he wants to get paid, he can go get paid. But I think that's how the Nuggets add to this. They could trade somebody. It'll be interesting to see if they do and how they do it with the contracts. I think Jamal Murray's more tradable contract and tradable than Michael Porter is, because he only has 1 year left.
Yeah, Jamal has 1 year left on his.
So that's a decent tradable contract. When you have 1 year left, that's a tradable contract, because you're out from the next year. So I'm not advocating that they trade Jamal Murray. I'm not saying that. But there's a lot of things that you have to look at. Like, are you going to throw a superstar onto this team with Nikola Jokic, or are we going to beef up the veteran bench? That's what you got to figure out.
Yeah, because even if KCP leaves, that's still not enough money to go out and get I don't even know who's going to be a Donovan Mitchell. You can't afford those.
No, they're not in those. I don't think they're in those.
Well,
maybe
unless somebody takes on the MPJ contract, you can't do much.
That's what I think that's what I think is going to happen. They just, and the rookies, the young guys, they're just going to have to come along as they come along. You can't force rookies. You can't force these guys in, round square pegs and round holes. They have to develop, they have to come. And I think that was the missed opportunity this year. Just because you did it with Christian Brown last year, Christian Brown's a freaking championship player. That dude went from a high school championship straight into a college championship, then straight into an NBA championship. That dude's different. He's the outlier. He's not the rule, you know?
Yeah, but you can't have in an elimination game a combined 5 points off the bench, and all those between three players, and all those 5 came from Christian Brown. So you can't have that,
dude. I think I think from those games he played, and if he takes another step, he might be able to be that 6th guy off the bench. He might be able to be that Reggie Jackson, that Bruce Brown that they had a couple seasons, the championship season. He could be that guy, and I think they're hoping. He did take some steps this year. Did you see a couple times he was bringing the ball up and he was actually running the offense?
That was way better than what Reggie was doing.
Honestly. It was. I felt the same way. And his defense on Anthony Edwards, that's something that we're going to have to circle back to next year. I think that's going to be the matchup, especially the more minutes. Christian Brown could play himself into that 6th man role, possibly even just depending on who stays and who goes. He could. I think Christian Brown's set, and that dude's a champion. Everybody's like, we need to get this guy and this guy. You want youth, you want our youth to come up. You look at Christian Brown. I put a big circle around him, and I think he can take a big step next year.
Yeah, and it's easy for all these people to say they need to do this, need to do that. Look, they're strapped for cash. They cannot do much.
They can't do much
unless somebody takes on these contracts. So you got to look for not only the right trade partner, the numbers got to match up. There's a lot of factors that go into it. By the way, you can't keep having Aaron Gordon be your starting 4 and your backup 5. You can't.
They need to
keep doing that.
They need to get somebody in here. They need to get another big. They need to get somebody to meet shield Joker or somebody that can play when Joker's off. These non-Joker minutes.
And not only that, play with Joker because
play
Joker's
with Joker.
not a rim protector.
I agree.
So I don't know what you do. I don't know if you just throw Aaron Gordon back there with Joker and say, hey, go block shots. I don't know what you do.
And Aaron Gordon was shooting the ball a hell of a lot better this year too.
Yeah,
our best 3-point shooter.
Again, you can't have 5 points in an elimination game, bro. You can't.
No,
you can't do it. And shout out to Aaron Gordon. I mean, what is with the Nuggets players' brothers? Just some bad luck. MPJ's brothers, I think all of them are in jail now. And then Aaron Gordon's brother passes away a couple of days ago from a car accident. Mm-hmm. At first, I thought it said Drew Gooden on my notification. I was like, oh, Drew Gooden. He was a decent player for a lot of years, and then I was like, who's Drew Gordon? And then it all started coming out. So shout out to Aaron Gordon.
Right.
So shout out to him. But
tough deal.
Tough deal. And again, going back to that brother situation, I wonder if MPJ's brother situation finally got to him.
It could, yeah. You had to think that you have time to sit there and think, because before, during that Lakers series, it was just games, and then after that series was over, you had time to sit down and take a breath, and it probably got to him. I mean, we got to think about that too. Like, how would you play? How would I play in that situation? It would be tough. It'd be really tough.
So, I don't know. All right, man, let's move on to the ice list. Number 3 on the ice list. Are you getting sick of all these Bronny James mock drafts? Some people have them going in the first round. Remember when it first came out, they said, oh, he's going to go undrafted. And then LeBron's like, I'm going to make some phone calls and all this stupid crap. But and now they're both saying, I don't need to play with him. Do you see them eventually playing together? Because obviously LeBron hasn't made a decision on whether he's going to opt out or stay with the Lakers. I think he's waiting for the NBA draft to happen to see kind of where Bronny goes. But have you ever – what is that called when – remember in The Office when they
nepotism.
Hired nepotism. Have you ever seen nepotism like this? I don't know if it's happening in Milwaukee because at one point, Giannis's 2 brothers were on the team, and then Brooke Lopez, Sideshow Bob, was on the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, brother of what did I say? Brooke Lopez, his brother. What's his brother?
Robin Lopez.
Robin Lopez. He looks like Sideshow Bob.
He does.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
I think so.
Weird.
I think so. That case in Milwaukee didn't hurt nobody. It's nepotism, for sure. But this case,
but let's face it, Giannis's brothers aren't. They only play when it's a 20-point blowout.
and they want to bring the ball up, and then they get
Yeah.
8-second violations called. They're so freaking funny. Yeah, my biggest problem with this whole situation is the nepotism. And the only reason why Bronny is coming out is because of that whole deal. And there was in the beginning. I mean, Bronny James let's talk about like his health condition. He's got a heart issue. I can't remember exactly what it was, but that's a significant situation that he had to get through. He averaged, I think, 4 points a game, maybe 2 to 3 minutes, not even that much. He came off the bench. He was not a contributor at USC, not a contributor at all. And then he go into the combine, the NBA combine, and he's coming out. There's certain GMs calling he's going to be drafted in the top 10, drafted in the top 12, top 15, top 20, blah, 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 blah. Well, this is all, and I don't blame Bronny at all for this. I blame LeBron for all of this because he's putting all this on him. He's putting all this pressure on him. He's putting all this pressure for other teams. Now, LeBron's going to, this is why I don't like LeBron, because he does stuff like this. As far as LeBron on the court, LeBron the basketball player, LeBron the basketball mind, I love that guy. One of my favorite players to watch play basketball. I will say that. But as far as doing this stuff, he did it with the decision, drove me crazy. He did it again going to the Lakers, drove me crazy, and it's doing it again. He's holding all these teams hostages. I don't know if you've been following this, Mike, but for some reason I've caught a lot of wind of this. There's Phoenix, that crazy Matt. I can't even remember his last name. He's trying to make a ploy for LeBron and Bronny. Cleveland, I was hearing rumblings about Cleveland. I was hearing rumblings about Golden State. There was Philadelphia. There's Miami. There's all these places that are holding picks, and I mean decent picks. The Lakers I think they have a pick in the top 18, top 20. I can't remember exactly where it's at, but they're up there. And everything that I'm hearing is the Lakers, from their perspective, they're not going to draft Bronny. And LeBron, from what I hear, he's going to opt out. But that doesn't mean that he's going to be gone from the Lakers. It's just going to restructure his deal. He's going to fix his years, fix his money, and it's going to be a more convenient deal for both of them. There's teams out there, Mike, that are going to draft Bronny James just for the hope that he can, that LeBron will go there.
Yeah,
and
it was similar. It's almost in football terms. It was like the Broncos hiring Nathaniel Hackett, hoping they would get Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, it's the same thing, and that's what's going to happen. One of these teams are going to waste a high draft pick, and it's going to screw up the NBA draft. It's going to screw up a lot of teams that just because. And you know what? It doesn't bother me. I'm going to sit back here and laugh at it all and watch the entertainment as it unfolds, especially that dude in Phoenix. You talk about Phoenix going from being one of the best teams in the NBA, definitely one of the best teams in the Western Conference, to now being a hodgepodge of fantasy basketball team. Matt Ishba, this guy over here, is trying to build a fantasy basketball team over there that's terrible. So there are teams and owners that are going to draft Bronny, or focus on drafting Bronny James, just so the chance that they can get LeBron James to consider signing with them. And that's the whole that's the worst part about all this. Could Bronny James come in and be a contributor on the defensive end? Maybe, but the NBA and college is different. If you couldn't produce in the college game, it's hard to come in here and do things that you're hoping from a Bronny James to do in the NBA. And I think it's bad for the – I'm not saying he's a bad baller at all. I would love to see – I think I mentioned this to you. I don't know if I mentioned this to you or somebody else. If the Nuggets drafted this guy, I'm not saying high in the first round, maybe second round or whatever it is, draft him there, because defensively, I think the kid can play defense. But is he somebody you go and waste a high draft pick for right away? Is he somebody that should have came out of college? No, I think he should have stayed in college, maybe transferred. But it's a whole screwed up situation, and it's because of LeBron James, and it definitely is because of nepotism.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes, what teams do, in hopes of maybe luring.
It's going to be entertaining, man.
Well, not only you mentioned Philadelphia, they said they are prepared to give Jimmy some money if he
Jimmy too. Yep.
If he somehow gets out of Miami. So that'll be interesting.
And then,
they should have never got rid of Jimmy in the first place.
well, that was a
Can you
whole.
imagine? Can you
Man.
imagine Minnesota if they had this team still with Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, that would be because
I
you
mean, you
think
would-
about
you
Jim,
probably
I don't know
wouldn't
if you
be
would have had
playing.
Ant though.
No, because Ant's a shooting guard. Jimmy's a
Well,
Jimmy's a 3.
I don't know if they drafted Ant with those picks that they traded. I can't remember how that
Yeah, I
situation
don't
went.
remember how it went either, but they would be some pretty good teams.
Because that's what happened with the Clippers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was a draft pick that they traded for
Paul George.
Paul George.
Yeah. By the way, I saw this thing back when Brooklyn traded all those picks to Boston for Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. Remember that weird era
Mhm.
of Garnett and Pierce in Brooklyn?
Yep.
2 of those picks, by the way, became Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So
Wow.
you can thank Brooklyn for that.
Jeez.
Yeah, crazy. Not only did you know that, what trade was it? I think it was it Iverson to Detroit and Jamal Murray became one of those picks or something crazy like that. No, it was a Carmelo Anthony trade.
It was a Carmelo Anthony trade because that
Yeah,
was a
one of
number
those-
7 pick.
Yeah, one of those picks became Jamal Murray.
And like the Jamal or the Moody pick was from the Iverson trade. The Moody,
Yeah.
remember him?
Oh man, such an overrated guy.
Dude, we had so many guards until we finally found Jamal that were just not like Ty Lawson was Ty Lawson. He was Ty Lawson, but he wasn't. He was so streaky.
Yeah.
Oh man, we don't want to go down that road.
No. All right. Number 2 on the ice list, going back to Caitlin Clark, Matt. Not only did she do that whatever record and helping the WNBA in attendance and viewership and everything like that. Not only her, but this class has been pretty. They've lived up to the hype so far. But I don't know if you saw yesterday's game between Chicago and Indiana. Kennedy Carter absolutely blasted Caitlin Clark. I mean, it was like a receiver waiting for the ball, and the defender just.
It wasn't a basketball play like Caitlin said.
Yeah, so they were talking trash to each other a little bit earlier in the game, which is fine, whatever. But then to do that, and then not only that, but your girl, man, Angel Reese was celebrating it on the sideline, which is kind of classless as well. And not only they said that Clark embellished later in the game when Angel Reese kind of shoved her down, after a free throw attempt, I think it was. But, she's saying she's getting hammered, stuff like this. Her coach told her not to complain to the officials anymore, which I think she's done a better job of. She hasn't really complained since her coach said that. She said, let me get the technicals, let me stick up for you guys. But what do you make of her not only getting – obviously everyone's going to be more physical with her, but what do you make of the play that happened yesterday?
The play that happened yesterday was not a basketball play like she says. That was a play, and I'm not against that type of play. Believe me, I'm not. If I know that somebody has rabbit ears, if I know somebody that they can get upset, if you can get in their head, you can really get them going. I would send my goon. I would send my thug or however you. I'm not saying she was a thug or goon, but I would send that person over there to get in her head and piss her off. And that's what Caitlin is. And that's what she needs to get better at doing, or not doing, I should say. This isn't college basketball anymore where they're going to let you get away with that because you've earned that, I guess, superstar mentality. Because don't get me wrong, it is in college too. You have these players that earn a certain whistle or certain things that they can say they can get away with. She hasn't earned that in the WNBA yet. And the officials know it, and the other players know it. For her first game, Dejanay Carrington was mauling her. And that's what you do to these rookies. That's what you do to them. You get physical with them. You got to see what they're made of. Caitlin Clark is a lot tougher and a lot stronger than what a lot of these women thought that she would be. So I think that's surprising. Some of these women, but they're gonna keep going after her. They're gonna keep sending the hit squad after her. They're gonna keep beating her up, getting physical with her. She's a rookie. They're gonna do that to all the rookies. And that's what she needs to stop. And I'm glad the coach told her to let me take the tech, because that's one thing. And you can see that I seen her parents on the sideline, Mike, that they still get, her dad especially. Her dad has the worst, just like, just disgusted every time she throws a fit or whines. So she needs to learn that, and she's going to learn that. And she'll still cry, she'll still whine for the fouls and stuff like that, but she needs to pipe it down a little bit more. But this is what it is, and this is what Diana Travasi was talking about. It's different up here. These are grown women that are going up here, and they're going to make your life miserable. They're not going to make it easy, but you know what? She's still doing it, man. She's still scoring 30 points,
and as long as she gets right back up, that's when the respect is going to come too.
Exactly, that's
get right
when it
back
comes.
Get right back up and drain a 3-pointer.
And keep hitting me, because I'm going to keep draining these threes. I'm going to keep finding. I'm going to keep dishing it. And the one thing too that they need to do is they're trying to take the ball out of her hands and make her a 2 or make her a secondary. No, man, she's a facilitator. Let her be a facilitator, and you're going to have to live and die with the threes that she takes. But right now is to get her mature. You need to get her maturity up and let her ball. Let her freaking ball. But yeah, she's going to get beat up, but she's still going to keep draining these threes. She's still going to keep scoring. She scored 30 points. I know that she lost, but she scored 30 points. That is crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. So
in her first game, Mike, she scored 20 points. 20 points in her first game.
Yeah, it's crazy. So if you missed the play, this is the play right here.
Mabry doubled off to Carter. Her jumper is good. Kennedy Carter now with 12 points off the.
It's a blind shot, blindside hit.
That's a 15-yard penalty, and we got to review it to see if it's with ejection.
And that was after Aaliyah Boston got like 5 offensive rebounds.
There from
and
Clark,
she got hacked too.
From Boston, as the officials are going to take a look at what just transpired between Carter and Clark. I mean, that's clearly a foul, which was called.
Crazy.
The question is,
see, if she would have.
There's some yelling before that happened.
Unnecessary. Kennedy Carter.
See, if I was Caitlin, I wouldn't have fell down there. I would have stayed standing, because she could have stayed standing up.
Well, and it's one of those things too, where remember in football where they're like you almost absorb a hit better when you don't see it coming.
When you don't see it coming, right?
But I mean, I don't blame her for falling down. She I don't think she was expecting to be blindside hit like that, but. And then if you look over at the sideline, like right after that happened, Angel Reese is pretty much the only one celebrating it, which is kind of dumb on her part.
She said several times that her and Caitlin are cool, they're friends, they get along, and I think there's some competitiveness and some competitive trash there.
Yeah, but you don't celebrate a blindside hit like that.
That's dirt. I mean, I wouldn't be celebrating it like that. I might have given her some knuckles, or like said, like beat her ass up, something like that on the sideline if I was Angel Reese, but I wouldn't have celebrated it like that.
Yeah. And then when Caitlin Clark went to go shoot free throws, she was all celebrating. He gave Kennedy Carter a hug, which is I don't know. It's just weird to see celebrating a play like that. Again, a non-basketball play.
It's a non-basketball play. It was a dirty non-basketball. It was
you could see Kennedy Carter yelling something on her way to go knock her down.
Yep.
And Caitlin Clark was talking trash to Carter earlier too, which may have been a response to that. And they were guarding each other a lot of that game too.
Yep. And Caitlin Clark could play defense too, man. She could play defense at this level.
Better. It's gotten a lot better.
Yes.
She's not in college. You could see her just kind of standing off to the side, which I guess is smart in a way, because you do not want her to get into foul trouble, and especially in college. But now she can take a little more risk because it's the pros. You have better backups behind you. So,
and it's and you have to play defense if you're going to survive in the NBA. You have to play especially in the women's game. All
right, number 1 on our ice list. Mag, going to let you take the bulk of this, but the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight has been suspended, postponed, delayed, whatever you want to call it, on an account of Mike Tyson's health. Said he had a pretty bad ulcer. What do you expect from a dude who pushing 70 is trying to fight this young dude? I don't know if you saw Logan Paul. He said, "Hey, I'll come out and fight my brother," which is pretty funny. But Is there a timetable for when this is supposed to come? Because it was supposed to be a pretty big card, a pretty big weekend, a pretty big everything with Mike Tyson coming back to fight the young guy.
Yeah, and I mean, and I'm sure the Slugfest guys have went over this too, and I haven't caught the podcast yet, and I'm probably gonna catch that today, see what they said, but excited to see what they say about it. But this really is turning into a spectacle. It's always been a huge, like, the biggest thing for me watching this and keeping an eye on this was, are they going to actually fight, or is this just going to be for show and then something else is going to be snuck in the back door? Well, here it is, right? There's been I mean, I've watched the press conferences and they've been good. The media scrums, they've been good. But there's always been something like off, like, I don't know if these guys are really going to fight. I don't know if these guys are really going to do it. There's got to be something different. And then now, yeah, Logan Logan Paul is going to come in and want to fight now. And this has been talked about for a while, and they were trying to figure out how to do it, make Jake and Logan fight. And this is an opportunity to slip in the back door. As far as Mike Tyson, like you said, he's old and he's got issues, and it's a stomach flare up, ulcer flare up. He was technically cleared to fight in this fight before, so that, who's not to say that won't happen again. But I don't think this fight happens. I don't think it was a very slim chance for it to happen, in my opinion, anyway. With this medical stuff coming down, I don't think it's going to be too dangerous for Tyson to do it. Whatever it was going to be anyway. But it's still a spectacle. It's still something people are going to watch, but I don't think it happens. I don't think it gets rescheduled. I don't think Tyson comes out and fights. I think it was what it was, the spectacle, to get something else over, to get something else out there. And now we just wait to see what that other thing is. But it was all like, like I was waiting for this to happen, and it did.
So you don't think it's going to happen, or
No.
or do you think a Paul brother fight?
That's somebody's going to step in. That's what the whole thing was. That's the purpose of it for. I truly believe that. Maybe there was a slim chance for them to fight, but I think it was always set up, just a medical thing. Something was going to come down where Tyson was going to be out, and it did. I don't think it happens. I don't think Tyson and Jake fight. It's going to be, I don't even know if they're going to set that up, but somebody else is going to step up to fight. Somebody else is going to be thrown into that. Jake will still fight, but it'll be some other between 45 and 55-year-old former athlete that did something. That's the way it's going to be.
Oh man, I just his name just slipped my mind. The big white dude, what's his name?
Which one?
Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury. He just lost. He's
because he looks old.
Guy, he's got to be in his late 30s.
Is that what he is?
I got to think late 30s.
Well, yeah, we'll see what kind of card these guys come up with, but
no, 35. So he's mid 30s.
40.
He's 35. Yeah, he's mid 30s, but he's almost and
crazy.
And see, there's so I think they're trying to get it to some point where Jake, there's some fight like that. Like, I know Tyson was one, but Jake's been talking about fighting Canelo, which is just no way. And Jake's been talking about trying to fight these Mikey Garcias. He's been trying to fight Conor McGregor, which I think if Conor McGregor loses to Michael Chandler coming up here in the UFC in his bout, I can't remember when that's going to happen. If he loses there, I think Conor will go fight Jake, but it's spectacle crap. It's that's all it is. I mean,
yeah.
It's prize fighting. It is prize fighting, because these guys are, I'm not going to call them prize fighters, but prize fighting is, in the term prize, you're winning money, and they make a lot of money.
Not only that, like, people are going to tune in to see Jake Paul fight a 70-year-old Mike Tyson.
Oh yeah, because they tune in for the chance that Mike Tyson knocks him out. That's what they tune in for, because that's what everybody wants to see happen. Nobody's done it yet. Tyson, or not Tyson. I forgot his name now. The MMA guy that just oh shoot, he came close. He came close.
Yeah, so we'll see if good old Mike Tyson comes back and suits up. We'll see.
Fight, guys.
This author's gonna go away, guys.
Author's gonna go. I used to be able to do a good Mike Tyson, but I can't find it right. I have to go through it.
There you go. But that's gonna wrap up Fire Nice, and that's pretty much gonna wrap up the Wheelhouse this morning. Don't forget to go and like all of our social media pages as well. And once again, this podcast, most podcasts on our network, is brought to you by Pikes Peak Sports Cars. So go check them out online on Facebook. And if you're in Colorado Springs, wherever, go make a trip down to the Springs to check them out. They just wrapped up one of their biggest sports cars events of the year. So go check that out as well. And go to e5280sports.com. Speaking of fighting, check out, Matt just mentioned the Slugfest podcast. They were live yesterday, pre-fights, and go check out Pro Wrestling Daily. Andre puts out podcasts Monday through Thursday, all your wrestling news. So go check that out as well. He did a recap, Matt, of the old classic '92 SummerSlam. That was good. So
it's great. I love watching. I got to see if we can do something together to talk about wrestling, because he's tremendous.
Yeah, so go check out Andre. That's on the front page because he does one almost every day. And then go to our Audio Vault, Video Vault, Spotify, YouTube. All of our past pods and VODs and whatever you want to call them are everywhere. So go check that out as well. Before we get out of here, man, you watching anything now? Because there's just no new shows out. I'm excited for June 16th, 2 weeks away now, that House of Dragon season 2 comes out. So I'm excited for that. But what are you watching right now?
What's funny is my son and actually the whole family, we started watching Star Wars from episode 1, and we're on episode 3 right now, and that's what we've been doing. But yeah, I'm like you. There's nothing really that I've really caught on or to watch. I'm kind of waiting for some video games to come out. NCAA is on its way out.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
That's gonna be good. But yeah, I started watching old Star Wars, and I mean, I got to talk to you about this, but I've gotten to some The Office, right?
Oh yeah, I've already rewatched that again. I've already rewatched Big Bang Theory. I'm in the middle of rewatching Friends again. There was this one series on Netflix that I just watched. It's like a 3-part documentary. It's called Dancing with the Devil. I just watched that.
Oh boy.
It was crazy because for whatever reason, I always get hooked on these like dancing videos on Instagram. And so I followed a couple of these dancers. 2 of them are sisters. I had no idea they were sisters until I saw them posing with the same parents. And I was like, huh. One of them I was telling you about, she's married. She just got married to Austin Eckler. I think I told you about that. So apparently her sister and a whole bunch of these dancers on Instagram were part of this cult, this church in LA. So go watch that.
I heard about. I might.
And I was like, well, I follow a lot of these stupid dancers on Instagram, and now because I was scrolling through Netflix trying to find something to watch, and then I saw Melanie. Here's her name. She's the one who just married Austin Eckler. I saw her face on it. I was like, dang, she looks familiar. And then it's all of them were like part of this cult church thing in LA. It's weird.
I started watching Parks and Rec again because I never really watched.
Made it through that one once.
Yeah,
it's a rewatchable series for me.
Well, the thing for me is that I'm old. Like, there's some things that I saw, and there's a lot of things I missed. So I'm missing out a lot of the things that I. But I was searching for old things to watch, like you, or new things to watch. There's a new Star Wars series that was coming out that looked freaking good.
Coming out next week.
Which one was it?
I forgot what it's called.
That looked freaking great. But I think I'm gonna go back, and I'm probably gonna watch Andor again. Probably more the Boba Fett series.
Yeah, they need to put out some stuff here because
we're Star Wars family. We're Star Wars people.
Yeah, well,
And-
if you can tell behind me,
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, that little box looking thing is a Star Wars record player. If you're wondering
That's
what
so
that
cool.
was.
Yeah, so we've been, and then my son and I are on a Sith we're on a Sith. We're listening to books about the history of the Sith. I mean, we're engulfed in that. So outside of basketball and golf, I've been really, it's like Star Wars, basketball, golf. That's what
The
the acolyte. Yes, the
series
acolyte.
coming out,
That looks badass. That looks badass.
Yeah, I need some. I'm gonna need some Marvel stuff here soon. I know. They said they're gonna take a break from force feeding us Marvel stuff, but because the last couple of movies, last couple of shows kind of flopped. So, but I'm ready for some more Marvel stuff. I don't know if you like scary movies, Matt, but I was excited to watch this tarot. You know, tarot cards. Like you read like people's horoscope. I thought it was pronounced tarot. Never knew anything about tarot cards. That was okay. By the way, speaking of Marvel, it had, remember Ned from the Spider-Man movies?
Yeah.
The comedic best friend of Peter Parker. He's in that movie, and he was of course the comic relief. But it was okay. I was excited to watch it, but it turned out to be just okay.
Have you seen Abigail?
I don't think so.
The scary movie?
Is that the one where is like
the little vampire girl?
Kid? Is
Yes.
that can you stream that?
Yes, I believe it's on.
Yeah, I was wanted. There's another one coming out too.
This
that I'm excited to
this
watch.
movie. It's not scary, but it's
almost
cool.
it's almost like a what do you call those houses that you have to solve puzzles to get out of?
Yeah, but you're locked in with a 14-year-old killer vampire little girl that's freaking she's funny, and she's like the way she talks and
What's the name of that movie?
You're gonna like it. This one's
Strangers. I think Strangers. That one looks good.
Yeah, but check out this Abigail movie. It's pretty. You'll like it.
I'm intrigued by A Quiet Place, the beginning or Day One, I think it's called.
Yeah, I have seen that.
I want to say John Krasinski directed that movie because he directed all the other ones, but I'm not 100% on that. I don't know. But Tarot, that was okay. You can rent it now on Amazon for $10.
And the new Ghostbusters is out on Amazon, I believe. I think it is. That's a great one. I've watched that at least 5 times. Well, my kid loves Ghostbusters, so we watch it over and over again.
Well, there you go. So some stuff's on the horizon, but the last couple of months have just been crap with new shows. Yeah. So we will see what new stuff comes out here soon, but that's going to do it for us here on the Wheelhouse. Again, don't forget to go to e5280sports.com, like all of our socials, subscribe to our Spotify and YouTube channel so you get these videos, all videos, and podcasts when they drop. So stay tuned for all of that, but we're going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Some good WNBA games coming up. By the way, did you see them copy kind of the in-season tournament? They're starting the Commissioner's Cup tournament.
See, and that's already a better name than whatever the hell the stupid, what was it called? The ring, or what was it?
I think it was called the Commissioner's Trophy or something.
I don't even remember.
I don't know, but I think it's supposed to start yesterday, but there's only one game on yesterday. But you got the Fever and the Liberty at 5 o'clock today, Matt. So that's gonna be a good one.
That'll be a good game.
Sabrina versus Caitlin, and I think they're good friends, so you won't see too much animosity in that game. Because if you remember last year, Sabrina gifted the Iowa team a whole bunch of shoes. Right.
Yeah, you got.
I mean, I don't know why these again.
Well, look right here, the Commissioner's Cup right here. I got it. So it started yesterday. The Chicago and the Fever, that was the first game, and then today it looks like we got Connecticut Sun versus Atlanta, the Sparks and Phoenix, and then you said Indiana Liberty, Dallas and Minnesota, Washington. Dallas, Minnesota is the last game today, and then Washington, Minnesota is on Tuesday. So we got there you go. We got some good ball right there.
There you go. By the way, I saw this other thing too, that Nike deleted their tweet when the Western Conference Finals was over. It said, "Ugh, no basketball to watch for a week." And Nike's a huge sponsorship for the WNBA. They quickly deleted that tweet because there is hoops to watch. Yeah.
Idiots.
You know, screenshots are forever, Matt. Receipts are forever.
Nike is starting to fall off.
Well,
Like-
whatever intern tweeted that is no longer working for the company.
They lost Tiger Woods. They lost Nikola. And
They dropped Kyrie Irving a couple years ago.
they dropped Kyrie. So, come on,
I
Nike.
don't know.
Get it together.
There you go. But I'm gonna go buy some Cam New Balance shoes. By the way,
Yeah, baby. I was going to get some Molly Malls the other day. Those are nice.
I actually like one of the. I think it's 361 degrees. Or
Yep.
361 or whatever it's called for Nikola AG. AG has some dope shoes. Go check those out.
Have you seen the Wimbies? The Wimbawambas?
Oh yeah, the alien.
Oh, those are nasty.
All right, let's get on out of here once again. For Matt Mascarenas, I am Michael Spill, and we will talk to you next week.